Discover the incredible moment a billionaire witnessed a homeless girl transform his daughter's life forever. In the chaotic heart of Chicago, Charlie's world felt like it was crumbling. He stood in his cramped apartment, unpaid bills scattered like confetti on a forgotten birthday, each one a reminder of the dreams he once chased. The empire he envisioned had collapsed, and with each passing day, the anxiety clawed at his chest, constricting his breath. All he wanted was a better life for his wife and teenage son, but despair cast a long shadow over their future. As he stared out the window, the pulse of the city beat in rhythm with his own racing heart, leading him to make an unexpected decision, volunteering at a local shelter. It was there that he met Mariah, a girl with a wild mop of hair, and a laugh that could thaw the iciest of hearts. Despite her ragged appearance and the harshness of her reality, she radiated joy like sunshine breaking through clouds. Charlie watched as she interacted with the other families at the shelter, making shadows turn into smiles and worries into warmth. The sound of her laughter filled the room, pulling him into a world where hope began to weave its way back into the fabric of his life. "Why do you volunteer, mister?" Mariah asked one day, her bright eyes locking onto his. "I'm just trying to help," he replied, feeling a tight knot of emotion in his throat. She beamed at him, her spirit infectious. "You do more than that. You make us feel seen." Charlie's heart swelled with a bittersweet pang. The more time he spent with Mariah, the clearer it became that her light was contagious. She didn't just uplift those around her, she inspired him to fight harder for his own family. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Across the street lived Ethan Caldwell, a billionaire obsessively protective of his wealth and reputation. His daughter, Olivia, fell victim to an opulent lifestyle that suffocated her dreams. Cradled in luxury, she felt trapped, her heart aching for authenticity. One afternoon, at a community event heralding local unity, Olivia crossed paths with Mariah. The sight of the spirited girl sharing warm snacks and ringing laughter shattered Olivia's carefully constructed walls. An irresistible connection sparked, igniting questions about empathy and understanding. "Dad," Olivia confronted Ethan later that day, her voice small, "why don't we help people like Mariah?" The question hung heavy, an unspoken challenge sparking fireworks of disbelief in Ethan. Could he face this harsh truth of privilege and presence? The conversation turned intense, revealing profound misunderstandings. A gulf yawned between their views, love tangling with entitlement, as Olivia clung to her convictions, awakening truth in her father's carefully hidden denials. "Mom's always busy, and you?" she whispered, eyes shimmering with unspoken hopes. As Charlie witnessed the blossoming relationship between Mariah and Olivia, he felt a stirring in his chest, a possibility for change pushing at the door. Would Ethan choose to step into this newfound connection, or would fear chain him to ignorance? The tension thickened, and the stakes rose, leaving everyone on the precipice of a transformation that could either bind them closer or pull them apart forever. The next few days blurred together for Charlie. He found himself returning to the shelter, not just for Mariah but for the sense of purpose she had ignited within him. Each laugh that escaped her lips sent ripples of warmth through the chilly atmosphere, making him feel alive again. As he served meals and shared stories, the weight of his troubles felt lighter. Mariah's bright spirit stood in stark contrast to the dim circumstances surrounding her. One evening, as they sat together on a worn-out bench outside the shelter, she turned to him. "Do you think I can be something more?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "More than what?" he replied, confusion knitting his brows. Her eyes sparkled with determination. "More than just a girl from the street. I'm dreaming big." The sincerity in her words struck him, and for a moment, Charlie was lost for words. It was almost as if she was feeding his hidden dreams right back to him, reframing his despair into hope. Meanwhile, across town, Ethan was wrestling with his conscience. Olivia's words haunted him. She had seen something he had missed: the humanity in those less fortunate. He paced his office, the sleek walls closing in around him, a fortress of his own making. He craved the connection Olivia had found, yet inertia gripped him like a vice. "Why can't you see it?" Olivia shouted, frustration spilling out. "You protect your wealth, but people are suffering right outside our door." With his jaw tense, Ethan felt the familiar itch of anger while wrestling with the shame of his reality. As he discarded the idea of helping out in the community, another voice joined the conversation in his mind, one that begged him to reconsider. Days passed, and the shelter started to feel like a second home for Charlie. The weight of his unpaid bills still lurked in the back of his mind, yet the warmth radiating from Mariah's laughter chased that nagging worry away, even if just momentarily. One afternoon, he overheard a conversation between Mariah and some other kids. "I want to be an artist," she declared passionately. "I'll paint the world beautiful." Charlie couldn't help but smile at her optimism, though a pang of guilt hit him hard. Could he help her dreams take flight? That night, while Charlie lay awake, he envisioned all the ways he might support Mariah. He remembered the many stories behind those faces in the shelter, the struggles they faced, and the laughter that still broke free. It all urged him toward a bold decision. But could he summon the courage to take the leap? Meanwhile, Olivia had her own revelations after watching her father wrestle with his demons. Something in her stirred a relentless need to act, a spark to turn her dreams into plans. That weekend, she spoke to Mariah at a park gathering, a rich tapestry of laughter and life around them. "What would you say if we had an art show?" she asked. Mariah's eyes widened in disbelief. "An art show? For real?" "Yes. We can display your art and raise money to help others." For Olivia, this was not just about charity, it was her way of carving a new path, a chance to step into a world where her father might finally see. As the girls solidified their plans over excited whispers, Charlie found himself drawn to the unlikely bond forming between his little beacon of hope and the sheltered girl with big dreams. Would this connection lead to something transformative, or would it expose deeper insecurities that threatened to tear them apart? In the corner of his mind, doubt crept in. If Mariah's dreams took flight, would he have the courage to embrace this change in front of him, to pull his family from the shadows of despair? With the anticipation building, Charlie made a vow to himself and that little girl with a wild mop of hair: he would not let fear dictate his choices any longer. He would fight for hope, for change. The next morning, he grabbed his coat and left for the shelter, heart racing with determination. But as he reached the door, a nagging feeling stopped him cold. What if Ethan Caldwell didn't want to participate? What if this new hope was still too far out of reach? And as Charlie turned to walk down the sunlit street, a thought echoed in his mind: was he prepared to face the billionaire father who held the key to a shared transformation? Charlie could feel the weight of his decision like a heavy stone in his pocket as he strode toward the shelter. His mind raced through the possibilities of what that day might bring. Each step felt both liberating and terrifying. What would he say to Ethan? How would he convince him that this art show was worth the investment? When he arrived, the shelter buzzed with energy. Volunteers darted about, delivering meals and setting up tables, while Mariah painted brightly colored posters in a corner. She was so focused, her tongue poking out slightly as she leaned over her work. He paused for a moment, watching her. Here was this girl, brimming with hope in a world that had tried to snuff it out. "Hey, Mariah!" he called out, a smile breaking across his face. She nearly jumped off her seat, a grin lighting up her round face. "Charlie! Do you like my posters? I want them to be bright and happy, just like my art. They're amazing. I can't wait to see all your work displayed." Her excitement was infectious. He felt the knots in his stomach slowly unfurl. Maybe he could do this. As the day passed, Charlie talked to the other volunteers about the plans for the art show. They shared ideas and rallied around Mariah's dream as if it were their own. But he knew he couldn't keep avoiding Ethan. The thought of facing him made his heart race. What if he declined? What if the whole art show fell apart? Later in the evening, Charlie put on the bravest face he could muster and approached Olivia. "Hey, can we talk?" She looked up, curiosity piqued. "Sure. What's up?" "I've been thinking about Ethan. I want to talk to him about your art show." "Really?" She blinked with surprise. "That's great. I thought you might be too scared." "Yeah, well I am, a bit." He chuckled nervously. "It's just he's a billionaire, and I'm just me. If not you, then who? He needs to see what's happening here, Charlie. He needs to see Mariah. If anyone can reach him, it's you," Olivia said, her enthusiasm spilling over. Nervous energy buzzed through him as he nodded. "You're right. Let's do this." Charlie spent the night rehearsing his pitch, mapping out the points he wanted to make. But as dawn approached, the fear crept back in. What if Ethan dismissed him? The morning sun rose as a beacon of hope, invigorating him. He grabbed his jacket, swiped his little notebook off the table, and headed toward Ethan's office. As he walked, he spotted the bustling city around him. People rushing, traffic honking, lives intertwining in the most beautiful mess. He took a deep breath, recalling the joy in Mariah's face when she talked about the art show. If he didn't try, he would never know. Standing before the towering skyscraper, Charlie's heart raced. He hesitated in the doorway, but a firm resolve gripped him. With a deep breath, he stepped inside. The lobby was pristine, echoing his footsteps as he approached the reception desk. "Is Mr. Caldwell in?" he asked, trying to sound more confident than he felt. After a few moments, the receptionist nodded and gestured for him to wait. Charlie shifted his weight, glancing around at the polished marble and gleaming glass. Time slowed, each second stretching into the next. What if this meeting changed everything or nothing at all? When the door swung open, a whirlwind of emotion hit him. This was it. "Charlie, what brings you here?" Ethan's voice cut through the air, and the challenge and opportunity hung in the balance like an unchained pendulum. The moment felt bigger than any words he could muster. Would this be the moment that transformed everything? Would Ethan's answer open doors or shut them forever? Charlie stood frozen as Ethan's sharp gaze met his. It was a look that could pierce through pretense and reveal every hidden insecurity. All the carefully rehearsed lines tumbled from his mind like leaves in a storm. He took a breath, grounding himself in the weight of Mariah's dream, and the hope the art show embodied. "I wanted to talk to you about something important," he managed to say, his voice steady despite the whirlwind inside him. "It's about an art show we're putting together at the shelter. It's meant to showcase the incredible talent of the kids who live there, especially Mariah." He searched Ethan's eyes for any glimmer of interest. Ethan raised an eyebrow, arms crossed. "An art show? You think I'd be interested in that?" "Yes," Charlie pointed out, feeling a flicker of conviction. "Mariah has this magical way of turning her struggles into stunning artwork. I know she can touch hearts. This isn't about just selling art, it's about raising awareness, giving a voice to those who feel unheard." Ethan's expression softened slightly, but skepticism hovered in the air. "It sounds noble, but why me? Why would I invest in something so far removed from my world?" Charlie's pulse quickened. "Because we're all part of the same community, right? Your daughter, she's young, she's creative. I think she would love to be here, to meet these kids. This show could bridge a gap between worlds, inspire compassion and understanding. It's not just an investment, it's a chance to change narratives." Ethan's gaze shifted away, staring out the large windows overlooking the city. Charlie could see the gears turning in his mind. The billionaire was weighing options, calculating costs before approving anything. Charlie's heart sank a little. Would Ethan dismiss him as just another idealist? Look, Ethan said finally, turning back to face him, I don't do charity for the sake of it. If I were to support this, it would need to be impactful, something that generates real change. I understand, Charlie replied, his voice low and earnest. But you have influence. You could draw attention to something beautiful that's happening right under your nose. You can show people your daughter's age that hard work and creativity can change lives. It's about more than just the money. Ethan seemed to consider this, his frown fading into a contemplative look. And what if it fails? What am I risking? Charlie took one more step forward. What if it doesn't? What if it inspires someone to help, to change? You can't put a price on hope. Silence enveloped them, thick and heavy. Time felt suspended, the world outside seemed to fade away. Ethan shifted his weight, and for a fleeting second, hope lit in Charlie's chest. Okay. I'll visit the shelter, Ethan finally said. But I want to see this for myself. I can't promise anything. Charlie could barely contain his excitement. A single nod from Ethan felt like a turning of the tide. Thank you, he breathed, relief washing over him. Ethan raised a brow, the corner of his mouth twitching upward just slightly. Don't thank me yet. You'll need to prove that this isn't just a pipe dream. As Charlie left the skyscraper, his heart soared. This was a chance, a real chance. He promised himself to bring that joy from Mariah and the others into Ethan's world, but as he made his way back, another thought crept into his mind. What if Ethan saw something darker during his visit? What if the truth of their lives scared him away instead of inviting him in? Charlie couldn't shake the anxiety. The art show was still a long way off, and a million things could go wrong. What would happen when Ethan truly faced the reality of those kids' lives? Charlie quickened his pace, feeling the buzz of hope and fear fight each other inside him. Charlie barely made it back to the shelter before the weight of his thoughts bore down on him. Each step felt heavier, the thrill of hope intermingling with the gnawing worry about Ethan's visit. What if he wasn't prepared? What if the kid's stories unfolded in a way that turned his excitement into apprehension? He entered the shelter, greeted by the familiar hum of chatter and laughter, the walls adorned with vibrant artworks created by the kids. It was alive, electric with the pulse of creativity and resilience. Mariah was sitting at a table in the corner, sketching. Her brow furrowed in concentration, she seemed lost in a world of her own. Hey, Mariah. Charlie called, masking his anxious energy with a smile. She looked up, eyes brightening. Charlie. Is everything okay? There was a sincerity in her voice, a warmth that tugged at his heart. Yeah, everything's great. I just talked to someone who might help us with the art show. Her face lit up. Really? Who? Ethan. You know, the guy who runs that big tech company. He agreed to check out the shelter, he said, trying to keep his voice steady, though doubt flickered in the back of his mind about how it would all turn out. Mariah tilted her head. Why him? Because he has the power to make a difference. He could help us make this show special, Mariah. It could change things. For us, for you. Does he know what we go through? She bit her lip, hesitant. What if he doesn't like what he sees? That question hit Charlie like a punch. He hadn't prepared himself for that angle. I think he will, Mariah. I think he just needs to see how brave and talented you all are. It could open his eyes. I just want him to see that it's not just about the art, it's about us, she whispered, and for a moment, Charlie wanted nothing more than to promise her everything would be okay. But the truth was murky, unpredictable. The other kids gathered around, stirring with anticipation. Each one had a story to tell, a piece of their heart to reveal through their own art. They were fiery spirits, deserving of every chance, and Charlie needed them to believe that Ethan was the key to helping them share those truths. Let us work on some new pieces, Charlie suggested, hoping inspiration would bloom amongst them. We can show Ethan how strong we are. As they dove into their creative endeavors, painting together, laughter and camaraderie flowed through the room, knitting them tighter than ever. But amid the joy, worry loomed large. Hours passed before Charlie glanced at his watch. The time for Ethan's visit was drawing near. He needed to prepare the kids, to keep their spirits lifted. Standing at the center of the buzzing activity, he caught Mariah's eye. "Whatever happens, remember it's our stories that matter. This is a chance to open the door for others like us." She nodded, determination shining on her face. Just then, the shelter door creaked open. The atmosphere shifted. Charlie's heart raced as he watched Ethan step inside, flanked by a couple of assistants. The fluorescent lights cast a stark shadow against his tailored suit, contrasting sharply with the art-laden walls. Charlie's throat tightened. He wasn't just introducing Ethan to art but setting the stage for something bigger, something that could change lives. "Hey everyone," he called out, a nervous quiver in his voice cutting through the excited chatter. "We have a special guest today." Ethan's gaze swept over the room. Charlie could see the moment realization dawned. He was stepping into a world he had only heard about. Charlie took a breath, searching for the right words. The stakes had never felt higher. As he gestured toward Mariah, sitting among her friends, he was full of hope and dread. Would Ethan leave transformed, or would he turn back into a closed door, leaving them stranded on the other side of his indifference? The moment felt surreal. Then, Ethan's eyes met Mariah's, and Charlie held his breath. What would they say to each other? Mariah felt the heat of Ethan's gaze, a mix of curiosity and uncertainty swirling in her stomach. She held her breath, gripping her paintbrush tightly as if it were a lifeline. For a fleeting moment, time froze and energy pulsed through the room, and everyone seemed to lean in, awaiting a spark that could set off an explosion of change. Ethan stepped closer, revealing a glimpse of his face that was usually masked with businesslike composure. But here, in this vibrant shelter filled with hopes, dreams, and sheer talent, he was just a man. Charlie took a step forward, his heart pounding in sync with the collective anticipation around him. "Hi, I'm Ethan," he said, his voice steady yet friendly. Mariah studied him, her intuition racing. She could feel the weight of their world pressing upon every interaction. "I'm Mariah," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper, but enough to bridge the gap. Ethan smiled, a genuine glimmer of interest. "I hear you create amazing art. Can you show me some of your work?" She nodded, feeling a rush of adrenaline. It wasn't just about displaying her art, it was about showcasing her world, her feelings, and her experiences. As she led him to a colorful mural on the wall, the others stepped back, their eyes filled with encouragement and pride. "This piece is special," she said, her voice a little stronger now. "It's about finding hope in the darkness." Ethan studied the bright yellows and deep blues, the swirls reflecting both pain and joy. "I can see that," he said thoughtfully. "The colors are really vibrant. What inspired you?" Mariah took a breath, her heart racing. "I wanted to show that even when things are tough, we can still make something beautiful." Charlie watched as the conversation unfolded, relief washing over him. The laughter from earlier seemed to echo in the background, and he dared to hope that this connection would resonate deeply within Ethan. "How do you think we can make a difference?" Ethan asked, genuinely intrigued. "There are so many kids like us who need a voice," she replied, her passion igniting. "If you can help us share our stories, maybe others will see it's not just about being homeless or having less. It's about art, dreams, and what's in our hearts." Ethan raised an eyebrow, moved by her conviction. "So much strength in such a young artist," he said, nodding slowly. "It's not only about the art, you're right. It's about what it represents." Charlie found himself holding back tears watching Mariah speak her truth. The moment felt electric. She was standing in front of a man who held the power to make their hopes palpable, yet there she stood, unfiltered and raw. The other kids gradually gathered around, emboldened by Mariah's bravery. Each one, eager to share their artwork, stepped forward, pouring their stories into the open air. Laughter and joy mingled together, creating an unstoppable tide of enthusiasm that filled the shelter. As Ethan moved from piece to piece, he was enveloped by the passion bubbling around him. It was no longer just a visit, it was an awakening, a revelation of purpose unfolding before him. However, in the back of Charlie's mind, insecurity whispered doubts. Would it last? Could Ethan truly see the value in their stories, or was he simply captivated for a fleeting moment? Slowly, Ethan began jotting down notes, a thoughtful expression crossing his features. Charlie felt a mix of hope and dread. He was so close to realizing a dream for the kids, yet there was a gnawing worry that this could all just be an illusion. As the conversations flowed and laughter grew louder, the tension in the air began to lift. Charlie noticed Ethan reaching into his pocket and pulling out a smartphone, capturing pictures of the kids smiling next to their art. "You guys are incredible," he said, his eyes shining. "This art could tell a whole new story." Just then, Charlie met Mariah's gaze. She had given everything in that moment, spilling her soul into Ethan's hands. And he wondered, would her courage spark something beyond this visit, or would it all fade away like whispers in the wind? And just as that thought settled, Ethan paused, glancing at Charlie. "Can we talk for a moment?" Charlie's heart dropped. What would Ethan propose next? Charlie's pulse quickened as he followed Ethan away from the group, a tight knot forming in his stomach. The laughter and joy faded into the background, replaced by the muffled sounds of the kids sharing stories and hopes. He couldn't shake the feeling that the conversation that was about to unfold could alter everything for them. Ethan stopped by the window, his gaze focused on the bustling street outside. "I have to admit, Mariah really struck a chord with me," he began, his tone serious yet warm. "Her art, it's powerful. It's real. But I want to know more about the organization here. How can I help?" Charlie felt a flicker of hope igniting in his chest. "This place means everything to us. The kids here, they need support, not just financially, but emotionally too. They have talent and dreams, yet the world often just sees their struggle." Ethan nodded, absorbing Charlie's words. "What if we organized an exhibit? A showcase of their art, their stories? We could invite the community, even potential sponsors. Highlight their resilience, their creativity." Charlie's eyes widened in disbelief. It felt almost too good to be true. "You'd really do that? You could make this happen?" Ethan smiled, his expression a mixture of sincerity and determination. "Absolutely. But I need to know that we can bring this to life. It can't just be another event that fades away. It has to resonate." "Resonate?" Charlie questioned, feeling his heart race. "What do you mean?" "These stories," Ethan explained, glancing back at the kids. "They have to connect with people. I want to give them a platform to speak. Not just through art, but through their voices. We may need to do workshops, even invite reporters to cover it. Real stories can change how people perceive homelessness." Charlie's heart swelled as hope blossomed. Could this really be the break they needed? We could do interviews, let the kids express what they go through. This place could become a community beacon for others like them. Ethan's enthusiasm was infectious. "Exactly. We'll show that these kids are more than their circumstances. They're artists, dreamers, and storytellers. We'll create a collaborative project where they can lead the way." But then doubt crept in. I hope we don't set ourselves up for failure. Sometimes people say they want to help, but then they disappear. I've seen it happen too often." Ethan met his gaze. "I get that. I've seen it too. But I promise, this isn't just about me. If we can rally the community, if we can get artists and local businesses involved, it could work. But I need you, Charlie. Someone who is deeply connected to these kids." Feeling a strange mix of excitement and fear, Charlie asked, "What should I do?" "Let us plan a meeting. Get everyone involved, let them know they have a voice that matters." The notion hit Charlie like a gentle but steady wave. This was more than just art. It was about dignity, about reclaiming their narratives. "I'll do whatever it takes," he vowed, the weight of responsibility settling upon him. As they turned back toward the room, Charlie caught Mariah's eye again. She was talking passionately to one of the younger kids, her hands animated, laughter spilling like sunshine around them. In that moment, she became a symbol of everything they were fighting for, but just as hope began to wrap its arms around him, Ethan's phone buzzed with a notification. He glanced down, and the playfulness on his face vanished. "I need to take this. You won't believe what just came up." Charlie's heart sank. Would this be another moment slipping away? "Is everything okay?" Ethan hesitated, the joy of the day dimming slightly. "I'll be right back. Just please hold on to that thought." As Ethan stepped outside, the lingering uncertainty clawed at Charlie's mind. Would this truly lead to the change they were yearning for? Was it possible that one man could help transform the world they lived in? Charlie knew a storm of uncertainty lay ahead, but as he watched Mariah's infectious laughter echo through the room, he held on to that tiny flicker of hope. Would Ethan return with good news, or would this new opportunity slip away like so many others had before? Charlie drew in a shaky breath, trying to calm the whirlwind of thoughts racing through his mind. He glanced out the window, the sunlight illuminating the street beyond, while shadows loomed inside. Without Ethan by his side, a void seemed to swell where optimism had thrived moments ago. What if things didn't go as planned? He turned back to the room, the familiar buzz of laughter encircling him. Mariah caught his eye again and offered a radiant smile. The kids gathered around her, faces shining with warmth like little candles flickering in the dark. Here, hidden away from the world, they found a safe haven. They were more than just statistics, they were living, breathing stories stirring beneath the surface. "Charlie." Mariah's voice bubbled over the crowd, pulling him from his thoughts. "Can you help me with this drawing?" She held up a crumpled piece of paper, vibrant with splashes of color. The scene depicted a small house rising above a garden bursting with flowers, sweet and simple. It was a glimpse into something utterly hopeful. "Of course," he replied, stepping closer and kneeling beside her. The moment allowed him to breathe a little easier. "What do you want to add?" "I want to show everyone how I feel when I draw here," she said earnestly, the determination in her gaze igniting something deep within him. "Like I belong." Charlie felt a lump in his throat. "You do belong, Mariah. And your voice matters." He reached out, tucking a stray hair behind her ear. In that fleeting moment, he felt like he was sharing a secret with the universe. This was what they were fighting for. The discussion fell away as the children animatedly shared their ideals. Laughter mingled with enthusiasm, filling the void Ethan had left. But in the pit of his stomach, anxiety coiled tightly. He was still unsure about the future. What if that phone call had carried tragic news? "Hey, Charlie." A young boy's voice broke through his thoughts. Aiden stood beside him, eyes sparkling. "Can you help me with my pitch for the exhibit? I want it to be, like, really cool." "Absolutely." Charlie grinned, excitement flooding through him again. He knelt down beside Aiden, feeling a rush of pride. "Tell me your ideas." But before Aiden could share his thoughts, the door creaked open. Charlie's heart skipped a beat. Ethan stepped back in, but his expression was unreadable. The atmosphere shifted as everyone fell quiet. "I'm sorry to interrupt," Ethan said, the weight of his words filling the space. "I just had a conversation that could change everything." Charlie's breath hitched. He could hardly comprehend what those words could mean. Hope flickered like a flame in the distance, shadowed by doubt. "What do you mean?" Charlie asked, apprehension lacing his voice. Ethan stepped closer, fixing his eyes on Charlie. "It's about the exhibit, but it's a lot bigger than I thought. We may have a chance to attract more sponsors and possibly get the local media involved." Local media? Joy and terror surged together, creating a chaotic mix of emotions in Charlie's heart. "Are you sure?" "It's a starting point," Ethan replied slowly, his voice steady. "But it's also going to take a lot of work." I need you more than ever, Charlie. We can't let this slip through our fingers. Are you ready for the challenge? As the kids leaned in, awaiting the next thrilling chapter, hope battled fear within him. He glanced at Mariah, her bright spirit and unwavering belief lighting up the room, fueling the fire inside. This was about more than just art, it was about igniting change and bringing their stories to light. Let us do it, Charlie declared, feeling the electric pulse of possibility. Let us show the world who we really are. Just as the energy surged once more, a ringing phone echoed from Ethan's pocket, cutting through their moment. His face paled again, realization dawning. I have to take this, he said quickly. It might be important. As he stepped out again, Charlie's heart raced. Was this a sign? Another challenge looming? Or a chance to finally break free from the chains holding them down? He turned back to the children, finally asking the burning question, could they truly build something greater together, or would another doorway slam shut, leaving them in darkness once more? Charlie watched as Ethan hurried out of the room, the weight of uncertainty fading in sync with the closing door. The kids were still buzzing with ideas, laughter bubbling through the air like the effervescent sound of soda fizzing open. Yet, inside him, the buzz was heavy, tethered to the looming unknown. Charlie. Aiden's voice broke through his cloud of thoughts again. Let us make our pitch awesome. What if we use special effects or music? His eagerness was infectious. Great ideas. Charlie said, forcing a smile as he knelt next to Aiden again. While he wished he could share the same excitement, he felt the anxiety layering over him like a thick blanket. Music can really set the mood. What kind do you think fits your project? As Aiden started spouting ideas, Charlie's gaze drifted around the room. The children's faces glowed with passion, their imaginations were unbound and vibrant. Yet, he felt himself shrinking, the walls of worry closing in. Charlie, look! Mariah interrupted his spiraling thoughts, waving her crayon in the air like a magic wand. Can we make the house in my drawing sparkle? Like stars? Yes. That would be beautiful. He cheered, even though his heart was still tangled. In that instance, he knew it was critical not to crush their dreams under the weight of his own fears. You could use glitter or colored pencils. As the kids swarmed around her, Charlie became aware of the fragile line he walked. He was a beacon for them, a guide in this journey. They needed belief, and he needed to find it for himself. The joy of the moment collided with the haunting silence that filled the room after Ethan departed. Charlie drew in a deep breath, trying to shake off the weight. He could feel Mariah's gaze on him, her unwavering spirit urged him to rise. Suddenly, the door swung open again, and Ethan returned, the phone still pressed to his ear. His eyebrows knit tightly together, and relief washed over Charlie, sensing the urgency in Ethan's expression. It was a sponsorship from a local arts foundation. Ethan exclaimed, his voice filled with breathless excitement. Charlie's head buzzed. Is that for us? For the exhibit? The hope he had tried to contain surged relentlessly like waves crashing onto a shore. Yes. But there's a catch. Ethan's words were like ice water tossed on the flames of anticipation. Mariah's expression shifted to worry, and Charlie's chest tightened. They want to see the kids in action performing or showcasing their work. We need to prepare fast. Acting? Like a play? Aiden's eyes lit up with possibilities, his youthful imagination taking flight. No, like an actual exhibit presentation. Ethan replied, his voice brimming with energy. We need to create a powerful display, a way for your voices to be heard. Desperation mingled with hope. But how can we be ready that soon? Charlie asked, his heart thudding anxiously. The flutter of excitement tangled with sudden panic, as he sensed the incredible potential mingling with overwhelming pressure. We'll stay up late, practice, and really bring our hearts into this, Ethan replied, eyes glimmering with resolve. We can do it together. Charlie glanced at the children again, absorbing their raw determination. Their bright faces were like stars, guiding him through the darkness. Perhaps this was the breakthrough they all yearned for, a shared journey to deliver their art to the world. "All right, everyone." Charlie's voice took charge. "Let us show this foundation what we can do. We need ideas, enthusiasm, and most importantly we need heart." As the room erupted in cheers, Charlie's pulse raced with their collective energy. The children began brainstorming frantically in a swirl of creativity, excitement taking over the space where doubt once lingered. But just as enthusiasm filled the room again, Ethan's phone rang yet again, pulling his focus. He hesitated, looking at Charlie, and whispered, "I need to see what this is about, please keep the energy up." As Ethan slipped out again, a feeling of apprehension washed over Charlie. What other news awaited? Would it bring hope or another challenge? He stood among the children, torn between excitement and a sense that they were on the brink of something momentous. "Charlie." Mariah's voice broke his reverie. "You've got to believe we can do this. It's about us, our stories." He locked eyes with her. A warmth spread through him, igniting a spark of belief. "Together, we can do anything." But deep down, a question lingered: was it enough to light the fire needed to carry them through to the final push? As he watched the kids enthusiastically begin to flesh out their plans, would the winds of change steer them into the light or crunch them under pressure once more? The day of the art exhibit dawned, painted in a golden hue, as if the universe itself was blessing their efforts. Charlie stood in the shelter's main room, heart racing with hope and nerves. Colorful artworks adorned the walls, each one a piece of a story, a whisper of resilience and dreams. Mariah flitted around, her excitement contagious, orchestrating the final arrangements. "Charlie, look. The art is so vibrant. It's going to blow their minds," she exclaimed, eyes glimmering that he couldn't help but smile. "It will, Mariah. You all have poured your hearts into this." As guests began arriving, a buzz filled the air. Ethan was already present, flanked by potential sponsors and reporters. He moved through the crowd, exchanging words and smiles, his previous conviction evident as he introduced the kids to their visitors. Charlie watched, spirit soaring. One by one, the kids spoke passionately about their artwork. Mariah stood in front of her mural, her voice steady as she expressed her dreams, her struggles, and the hope she found through art. "This is my world. It's messy but beautiful just like life," she said, her presence like a beacon. Ethan's eyes sparkled with pride as he watched her. "And you're going to change the world with your voice, Mariah. Keep shining," he encouraged, his admiration clear. With every story shared, the transformation was palpable. Observers leaned in, captivated by the strength and passion of these children. One sponsor, a local art collector, stepped up, visibly moved. "These pieces, they're not just art. They're a call to action." Charlie felt tears prick his eyes. This moment, this connection, could change everything. The gallery began to hum with chatter, ideas blossoming. People were reaching for their phones, snapping pictures of the art. The children. This was happening. Ethan quickly noticed a photographer snapping pictures. "Make sure to get Mariah and the others in the frame," he instructed, fully present and committed. The cold detachment that had once been his armor melted away, replaced with genuine care and motivation. Just when Charlie thought their joy couldn't grow any bigger, Victor, a shy boy who had been reluctant to share in the past, gained courage. He stepped up beside Mariah, holding a canvas adorned with designs born from his imagination. "This is my piece," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It shows how I want to escape to fly." Ethan walked over, knelt at the same height, and said, "Victor, this is beautiful. It speaks volumes. You have wings and you're ready to soar." Gasps of admiration rose from the onlookers. Just like that, Victor sparked something precious within the room. The atmosphere crackled with excitement. Charlie leaned against the wall, taking it all in. This was their shining moment. The transformation was tangible. They were not only introducing their art but sharing their stories, knitting together empathy and understanding among hearts that had remained distant. Hours flew by, but the hope lingered like the settling dusk. As guests began filtering toward the exit, hands shook, connections were made, and promises echoed out. True change was on the horizon. Ethan clasped Charlie's shoulder, his eyes bright with conviction. This was extraordinary. We need to do more. I want to partner with the shelter long term. We can sustain this, give continuance to these voices. Charlie felt his heart swell. You mean it? His voice broke slightly, reflecting the weight of all their hopes. Absolutely, Ethan affirmed. Together, we'll keep these dreams alive. Looking around, Charlie saw Mariah laughing with Victor, each excitedly making plans for the next art project. The kids were beaming, encapsulated in a moment of pure joy. From that day on, the shelter thrived not just as a haven but as an inspirational hub for healing through creativity. Charlie's world transformed. His family found new strength as they joined the mission. Mariah blossomed into an advocate for other kids, her art becoming a beacon of hope. And Ethan Caldwell. He became a devoted ally, helping the community bridge the gap between privilege and poverty. As Charlie observed the laughter, the creativity, and the transformations all around him, he felt something inside click into place. All the struggles, every doubt and every tear had been leading to this. He dropped a grateful glance at Mariah, where she danced joyfully amongst her friends, painting a future vivid with possibility. In that instant, Charlie realized that their story had just begun. They would continue to uplift, to inspire, and to transform lives, not just their own, but countless others too. Join this incredible journey. You need to subscribe now to witness the next chapter of transformations. Leave a like now to energize the algorithm, and let your voice be heard. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this ending, because your reactions matter, and don't wait not even one more second to share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Thank you for it.